The question of where God came from or who created God has intrigued humans for millennia. In this video, we'll explore key concepts that deepen our understanding of the divine. We'll begin with understanding the infinite, followed by the eternal nature of God and the self-existent God. Next, we'll see evidence of God in nature and appreciate the beauty of creation, showing how the universe points to a divine creator. We'll discuss the limits of human understanding, acknowledging our knowledge boundaries, and learn about Jesus, the revelation of God, for insights into God's character. Finally, we'll conclude with trust in the eternal God, finding comfort and assurance in our faith. Join me as we bridge our finite understanding with the infinite nature of the divine. This question, where did God come from, reminds us of a question found in the Bible, a question asked by one of Job's friends. Can you fathom the mysteries of God? Can you probe the limits of the Almighty? Job 11-7. The answer invariably is no.
Thank you for continuing to watch this video, and please don't forget to subscribe and support my channel, and click the like button, and also post your comments. This will help in taking the love of Jesus to this world.
The Bible writers have used various expressions in their attempts to help us understand something of the greatness of God and His infinite power and glory. In his prayer at the dedication of the temple, Solomon said, "But will God indeed dwell on the earth? Behold, the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain you. How much less this house that I have builded?" 1 Kings 8:27. As God is not limited in power or glory, so He is not limited in time. In a psalm attributed to Moses, we read, "Lord, Thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever Thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, Thou art God." Psalm 91:2. This means that God has existed from eternity of the past and will exist to eternity of the future. No one existed before Him. The concept of a being with no beginning and no end is difficult for our finite minds to grasp. As one of Job's friends said, "God is great, and we know Him not. The number of His years is unsearchable." Job 36:26. When materialists ask who created God, the question is as complex as asking where the first living cell came from, or the origin of the primordial nebulosity that evolutionists propose. Christianity, in this respect, makes no greater claims on faith than does the theory of evolution. Both require a level of faith in the unseen. The Christian response to these questions is found in Psalm 92. "Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever Thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, Thou art God." In other words, no one created God. If a creator of God were discovered, evolutionists would proceed to ask, then who made such a creator? And so on, ad infinitum. God is eternal and self-existent. He always has been and ever will be. Christians find calm assurance in such a realization. The Bible invites us to look at nature for evidence of God's existence. Job challenges us to ask the beasts, the birds, the earth, and the fish, all of which will declare that the hand of the Lord has made them. Job 12:7-9. The intricate design of nature points to a divine creator. For example, the genetic information that determines our physical characteristics is contained in ultra-microscopic genes. These genes in the living cells, color of hair and eyes, shape of body, hands and feet, and even such details as shape of nose, lips, and teeth are all determined by the genes in the parent cells at the time of conception. Yet so small are these genes that those responsible not merely for one person, but for every one of the 7.9 billion people in this world today could be held in one small thimble. To suggest that there is no mastermind behind the structure of the genes is even more fantastic than the obvious untruth that a wristwatch or an intricate piece of machinery shaped its component parts just by its inherent power and assembled itself. Nature's beauty, from the flowers to the stars, suggests an artistic mind behind it all. Nature abounds with things which are clearly designed to thrill the eye. How shall we explain the exquisite beauty of flowers, plants, and trees? Some people wonder why God doesn't reveal Himself directly to solve all confusion. One reason is that God values our free will. A direct revelation might compel belief out of fear or obligation, rather than love and genuine faith. God desires that we choose to believe in Him freely. Additionally, faith is a crucial part of our relationship with God, fostering personal growth and a deeper, more meaningful connection as we trust in what we cannot see. Our human minds are limited and might struggle to fully comprehend the infinite nature of God, making direct revelation potentially overwhelming or beyond our understanding. Furthermore, God has His own timing and reasons for how He reveals Himself, often using our confusion and seeking to lead us to a deeper understanding and relationship with Him. God has revealed Himself in various ways, such as through nature, the Bible, and Jesus Christ. By observing the world and seeking God in these ways, we can find evidence of His existence and character. So God's indirect revelation respects our free will, fosters faith, acknowledges human limitations, aligns with His purposes, and is present in many aspects of life. The question of where God came from arises from human curiosity rather than from a practical necessity. While it could be argued that satisfying all of human curiosity is a practical need, this is a perspective that few would take. Most people do not consider it essential to understand the origin of God in order to address their daily needs. Therefore, knowing where God came from would not provide any practical value to humanity. Belief in the existence of something does not necessarily require knowledge of its origin. What is essential is having convincing evidence of its existence, whether direct or indirect. For instance, humans acknowledged and harnessed electricity long before they had detailed knowledge of its sources. This demonstrates that practical use and recognition of existence do not depend on understanding origins. The fact that we cannot physically see God does not mean that God does not exist. The reasoning processes often provide evidence that surpasses what our senses can directly perceive. This principle has been repeatedly validated in scientific laboratories, where logical evidence is accepted even when it extends beyond direct sensory evidence. Therefore, the existence of God can be demonstrated through logical means without needing to physically sense Him, allowing us to utilize this understanding without concern for origins. Even if humans could determine the origin of God, they would inevitably seek to understand the origin of that origin, driven by a desire to uncover the ultimate nature of the universe. Philosophy has long pursued the fundamental substance of all things, but this quest is ultimately futile because we exist in a world defined by relativity, not absolutes. The significance of things or people is derived from their relationships to other things, as illustrated by the example of a king needing subjects to maintain his status. Without these relationships, the concept loses its meaning. If humanity were to discover the ultimate substance of which everything is made, they would end up defining it in terms of known concepts, leading to circular reasoning. This approach is invalid according to the principles of sound reasoning. Consequently, the search for an ultimate substance hits a brick wall, as the universe does not present such a substance in a straightforward manner. Even if we could define an ultimate substance, questions about its origins would persist. But these inquiries would be both interesting and valueless. Such questions can always be posed, but they do not necessarily have meaningful answers. Thus, it is important to distinguish between meaningful and meaningless questions, allowing us to discard irrelevant philosophical inquiries. Human knowledge is insufficient to fully comprehend the mysteries of eternity and existence. While our understanding may be blurred and the symbols we use uncertain, divine wisdom provides clarity. Trusting in the Bible and the revelation of God is advocated, as human reasoning alone cannot fathom the infinite. The Bible's divine origin and infallibility are highlighted as reasons for belief, with further evidence to be provided in subsequent discussions. Despite our limited comprehension, we should rely on the goodness and wisdom of our Heavenly Father, as revealed in the Scriptures, to make sense of life's challenges and afflictions. Our finite minds struggle to comprehend the infinite nature of God. As the Bible states, "The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever." Deuteronomy 29:29. We can understand what God has revealed, but some mysteries remain beyond our grasp. Croesus, the king of Lydia and one of the richest men in history, one day asked Thales, a Greek philosopher, "What is God?" Thales asked for one day to prepare his answer. Then he asked for another, and another, and an other. Finally, he came to crisis and admitted that the more he studied God, the more mysterious the question became. Referring to this experience, Tertullian, a noted apologist of the early Christian church, said that no one could know God who did not know Jesus Christ. If you wish to know the answer to the question, what is God? Look at Jesus. The disciples were one day talking to Jesus about God the Father. One of these, Philip, pleaded with Jesus, "Show us the Father." To which Jesus replied, "Have I been so long time with you, and yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that hath seen me hath seen the Father, and how sayest thou then, Show us the Father?" John 14:9. The Bible from beginning to end reveals Jesus as the exact image of the Father. Jesus, the Son of God, said, "I and my Father are one." John 10:30. As a young adult, I struggled with the concept of an eternal God. Where did God come from? Isaiah 40:28 provided some clarity. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. The Bible acknowledges that God is difficult to comprehend, and I had to accept his existence by faith. Recently, I've learned to trust God more deeply. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall, but those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Verses 30-31. When I am exhausted, I cling to this promise and find strength in God. Over time, God has become not just an acknowledged existence, but a close friend. Isaiah prophesied to people who knew God as part of their history and culture, yet confined him to the limits of their understanding. But God is always beyond our comprehension. From Isaiah 40-66, the prophet emphasizes God's nature and his plans for Judah and the world. Isaiah 40 addresses fundamental theological questions. What is God like? How do humans compare? How can humans relate to God? Isaiah first asks, who can be compared to God? And later, God poses the same question, verses 18-25. Satirical rhetorical questions contrast God with idols, humans, and creation. God surpasses them all, and we, in comparison, are insignificant, verses 15, 17, 23. God is not just concerned with the details of human lives. He is the omniscient, omnipotent creator. The Bible reveals Jesus as the exact image of God. Jesus' life and teachings help us understand God's nature. John's Gospel begins by stating, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." John 1:1. This affirms that Jesus, the Word, was with God from the beginning and participated in creation. Paul echoes this in Colossians, saying that all things were created through and for Christ. Colossians 1:15-16. Attempting to understand the mysteries of God's nature is like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. Our understanding is limited, but we can trust in God's wisdom. The Bible encourages us to trust and seek God, promising that good will come to those who do. Job 22:21. The finite cannot comprehend the infinite. Perhaps a mathematical illustration on this point would help. We cannot help but see that all things bear the relationship of cause and effect. For there to have been a first effect, there must have been a primary cause. This cause must have been eternal or uncaused, otherwise it would be second as well as first, and this is not mathematically possible. God is the first great cause, and he is eternal, without beginning and without ending. The question of where God came from underscores human curiosity but does not diminish God's eternal nature. While we may never fully understand the mysteries of the divine, we are called to trust in God's revealed word and to recognize his presence in the world around us. Through Jesus, we gain a clearer picture of God's character, enabling us to trust him more deeply. Thank you for watching. Please post what you think in the comments. Also, please don't forget to subscribe and support my channel and click the like button. This will help in taking the love of Jesus to this world. You can also browse through my other videos in this channel that may be of interest to you.